Hi there, welcome to another painting tutorial. In this episode, we're going to paint this cactus, so let's get started. And let's start with the size 0 round brush. I want to add some darker values in the flower. So I'm going to take this magenta and let's put it around this outside area of the flower. And if you'd like to paint along with me, you can find this sketch in the description below. Kind of using that point of the brush to get into those fine points. And we're just kind of outlining the shapes of that flower. And then we can come around some of these smoother areas. And then here at the bottom, you can also kind of follow along with your sketch. Just adding some of those initial shadows. Okay, let's rinse off the brush. And then I'm going to take some black. And let's add some of that down here at the bottom. And I want to put some of these little pebbles and stones and kind of a shadow area. Okay, and now I'm going to mix up a little bit of this burnt umber. And then let's try to put in some dark values over on this side. So we're kind of going around these little ridges. I'm actually going to spray my paper. Just a couple sprays with a fine mist spray, and you can find with acrylic paints that can really help you get your paints flowing a little bit easier. And add a little bit of dark value over here. Again, trying to keep the sketch and put in some of those shapes. Okay, and then over here we could add this dark shadow with the burnt umber. And then over here we can add some shadow. And then let's look at the top of the cactus. Kind of go along some of these lines at the top here, more so on the left side than the right. Okay, and just some other areas that are in shadow. Okay, so now let's add a dark green color. So I have this Evergreen, and you could mix a little bit of the burnt umber in there. And then let's put that in. So we want to go kind of around. I'm going to spray my paper again. And let's go around some of these brown areas that we put in. And I kind of tape my paper down so that it doesn't move while I'm painting. It's another tip that you can use. Okay, so then I'm going to put this dark evergreen color around some of these lines here. And I can kind of blend in this area with some of the brown colors. Just want to integrate that brown color into the green so it's not too harsh. Okay, and I can do that same thing up here. Okay, so that's good for some darker values. Let's look into some midtones. And for a midtone, I have some of this Hooker's Green, which is a bright, beautiful green. And we can add a little bit of this cadmium yellow or primary yellow. And let's try to put in this color. So it's just a nice bright green. It's kind of giving us a little bit of variety of color. Put some on this side. So this is a nice mid-tone. I'm gonna mix some of that brown in there. Okay, I might need a little bit more water. I want to clean up those edges that I just did with that water. So that's going to just help me get a little bit crisper of an edge. Just be careful not to get too much water, because then you start getting bleeding and the acrylic paint starts breaking down and things can look a little messy, a little muddy. Just be aware of that. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna switch to another shade of green that's a cooler shade. This is kind of a minty green. And let's see if we can put that in. So it's good to practice working with a variety of colors, some cool tones and some warm tones. Because if you don't get that variety, then your paintings won't look as three-dimensional and they can look kind of flat. So I'm trying to get this color to kind of help me define the shape of some of these sections of the cactus. Okay, and I can bring that a little bit over onto this area. And there's some of these kind of wavy sections. Okay, and I'll add that up here. And also this color, it looks pretty light, but it's actually gonna dry a little bit darker. So keep that in mind. Your acrylic paint, it is gonna dry darker than when you have it on your palette. Okay, so at this point, I would want to step back a little bit, kind of look at my work, see what I might want to adjust. So I'm going to move to the flower. Let's take some of this primary yellow and add that right into the center of the flower. And then I want a purplish color. And I'm going to put that in around the petals here. Can be kind of loose with it. Doesn't have to be too precise. I want to grab some straight purple and put that in. And be careful that purple and the yellow are mixing together to make kind of a reddish shade. So just think about your color theory and be careful there. Okay, I want to cover up some of these white areas. Okay, and then, well, that's still a little bit wet. Let's take some titanium white and then see if we can kind of feather that out and kind of give some illusion of light coming in here. Kind of going around. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, so I'm gonna take some titanium white and I'm gonna mix it with that cool blue color. And I might add a little bit of yellow. Just want a highlight shade, a light shade. So let's see, it might be too yellow. I'm gonna actually, I'll use that as kind of a highlight on this side. And then let's go back and add some titanium white. And then see if we can kind of put that in to help as a lightest light color to kind of give us some volume. This is kind of making those areas sort of stick out and stand out. Okay, let's go back to, I have some gray color. I'm going to put that down where the stones are. And then I might take a little bit of this tan beige color and also add it towards the stones. And that part, let's take a little bit of this brown. This doesn't have to be too precise. Again, this can be kind of impressionistic. You just want it to look like dirt, like the ground that the cactus is coming out of. Okay, so now I think it's time to put on the spikes. So let's use this color. This is a raw sienna. And let's put that in. So I'm going to do this kind of randomly. Just put little dots along the cactus. This is where the spikes are going to come out of. Okay, so I'm trying to get it random and natural. And then let's take, I'm going to use a rigger brush, which is good for fine lines. And let's mix it up with some of this beige color and some of this titanium white. Kind of roll the brush. And then let's see if we can kind of pull that out and get some fun spiky marks. So I can kind of draw out some of that paint that's still wet on the page, that burnt sienna, that can help give a little bit of tone and value change within these little spikes. Okay, just going from the center and pulling them out. Trying to do it fairly quickly. You can pause the video and take your time with this area if you'd like. I just reloaded my brush. You want to make sure that you have enough paint in order to get these lines to be long enough. So you might have to reload a few times. And I would also turn your paper so that you have a better angle. It's a little bit hard for me to do with filming the video because I don't want to cover up what I'm doing, but definitely turn your paper and make it easier on yourself when you're doing this at home. Okay, and then I would even go with a little bit of white paint, just titanium white. Kind of roll that on your brush. You can even rinse it off so you get some good straight white, and you can put that in just a few places as like a highlight for some of these spikes. Okay. All right, so I think we're gonna call that complete. That is a fun cactus painting that you can try. I hope you give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.